All right, well, the next, have a nice, we have another presentation. Each year we select a faculty member to give a speech, to talk a little bit about our theme. The theme this year, obviously, on the banner is From Strangers to Brothers, Destined for Greatness. And this year we selected Mr. Sather to give us the talk. So let's welcome him with a big round of applause.
My name is Mr. Sather. I teach English here. I coach the hockey team and I coach the baseball team as well. I'm prep grad, class of 1993. My older brother John is a prep grad, class of 1988. My younger brother Tim coaches our hockey and golf team here. And he attended prep for 2 years. I know some of you from summer school. We're in the summer program, and for those of you I haven't met yet, I welcome you to Fairfield Prep. The theme of this year's retreat, as you've heard, is From Strangers to Brothers, Destined for Greatness. And with that in mind, Max, John, and Mark asked me to reflect on my own prep experiences and share with you some of my time here as a student and how it influenced my life. We just saw a great clip from the movie Miracle. In that moment, Coach Brooks is trying to get his players to understand that their differences are simply a matter of perspective and geography. They're not real. They're imagined. He's trying to teach them that their shared experiences are the most powerful tool they can use, more powerful than their petty, arbitrary differences, more powerful than little fights, than town rivalries, than the games that they had played against each other in the past. So it's about shared experiences. Coach Brooks wants them to answer the big question: who do you play for? I want you to think about these themes today. Shared experiences. Who do you play for? Remember them. We talk about brotherhood at prep all the time. And when I entered prep at 5 feet tall and 95 pounds in 1989, I thought I knew all that I needed to know about brotherhood. As the middle child in a family of 3 boys, I had more brothers than I cared for. My older brother, John, had recently graduated from prep and was in his sophomore year at Yale. I saw him as annoyingly perfect. My younger brother, Tim, was in the 4th grade, and I just saw him as annoying. I don't know why I came to prep. It wasn't my choice. In my house, going to prep was just a given. I guess I wanted to go because my brother went. I guess I wanted to go because they had a good hockey team. My parents wanted me to go because my brother had a good experience here, but if you want the truth, Trumbull High just didn't have the hockey team or the athletics that I wanted. I wanted a high school that was more competitive, so prep was the choice. Who do you play for? Fairfield Prep, Trumbull High. Would that be enough? My first 2 years at prep were defined by sports. Soccer in the fall, hockey in the winter, and baseball in the spring. My best friends were my teammates, and every afternoon was about practice and homework and sleep. I must admit, I loved every minute of it. I ate it up. In the winter of my sophomore year, I thought I figured out what being a part of Fairfield Prep was all about when I dragged the varsity hockey jersey on, skated out on the wonderland of ice in front of the bomb squad for the first time. That year, we beat Hamden at the Hartford Civic Center to win Prep's first state championship in a decade. I thought this was as good as it was going to get. I felt that I knew this is what prep was about. It's simple. Study hard, play hard, win state championships. Just simple. Victories, state championships, pep rallies. Those were my shared experiences. So who do you play for? I play prep hockey. But what happens when the teams change? What happens when the games stop? Who do you play for then? In the fall of my junior year, while playing in a soccer game against Notre Dame of West Haven, I was seriously injured. I tore 2 ligaments and destroyed most of the cartilage in my right knee. My doctor told me I was in for a long recovery. Major reconstructive surgery, 8 to 12 months of rehabilitation, no sports for a year. No sports. No teammates, no practices, no games, no bomb squad, no championships. I started to wonder who I was going to be without my teams, without my brothers in prep uniforms. Who did I play for now? Well, 2 simple gestures and 1 wrong turn changed my perspective on brotherhood and Fairfield Prep. And when I look back on these 2 gestures and that 1 wrong turn, they changed my life. The first gesture that changed my perspective occurred immediately after my knee surgery. I was always a good student, but I struggled a bit in algebra. And the doctor had ordered me to stay off my feet for a week after the operation. I was terrified that a week away from algebra class would devastate the grade that I had worked hard to maintain. All my teachers offered assignments that I could work on at home, but one teacher offered a bit more. My Algebra 2 teacher, Mr. Rowe, knowing how hard I had worked to keep my head above water in algebra that year, and knowing that a week away from class would devastate my progress, came to my house every afternoon the week I was away and taught the same lesson privately to me that he had to teach 5 times that day in school. I didn't ask him to do this. My parents didn't call him. They didn't pay him extra to be my tutor. He just showed up at my door one day, said he thought I could use some help. So we sat each day that week at my kitchen table talking algebra for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. But what happened in those conversations was more than just algebra. We talked about baseball, a passion we both shared. We talked about my injury, my future. We talked about our families. We talked about life. So who do I play for? It seemed that even though the uniform was off my back that year, the Fairfield Prep team was still around me. The second gesture that changed my perspective was a small gift from my older brother, John. He knew that while I was recuperating, I'd have more free time on my hands than I was used to. So he bought me a book of short stories that he had read and enjoyed during a class he took at Yale. I started to read these stories intently while sitting on the couch day after day. Eventually, I bought another book of stories and another. Pretty soon I was writing my own stories. I had found a new passion, a new talent, a skill, something I enjoyed as much as sports, and something I could work at while sitting in a knee brace. Shared experience with my brother. Who do I play for? So I mentioned a wrong turn. Well, about a month after surgery, I was ready to start physical therapy. School back then ended at 2:30 as well, but my therapy sessions in Westport didn't begin until 4 o'clock. I now had an hour after school every day to kill. I wasn't used to this. I was used to leaving school and going to practice. So what did I do during that hour? I talked to friends. I did my homework. Got some extra help in algebra. But one day, I stumbled up to the 3rd floor of Berkman's Hall, and I found myself standing outside of Mr. Wallace's room. And I started eavesdropping on a meeting that was taking place in his room. While I was there, I heard students talking about writing, talking about stories, talking about poems that they had written, poems and stories they had written themselves. They were talking about doing the things that I was doing at home. I wanted to be a part of this team. So I, as quietly as I could with my crutches, entered the room, a little embarrassed, didn't know what to think. But I was immediately welcomed by Mr. Wallace and what turned out to be the Fairfield Prep Creative Writing Club. The club met every week after school, and students read stories that they had written. They listened to each other intently. They offered praise and criticism. It was fun. It was challenging. And for me, it was new. Felt like a new team to play for. The third meeting that I attended, I got up the courage to read my own story. Like everyone else who read that day, I got both praise and criticism. But most importantly, the guys in the club listened to my work. They cared about what I had written. They wanted to help me make it better. The camaraderie in that room felt like hockey practice. It felt like the baseball locker room. Only my crutches and my knee brace weren't stopping me from participating on this team. Shared experiences. Who do I play for? For the rest of my junior year and my entire senior year, I attended this club's meetings. I met new people, people with different interests than my other friends that I had met in sports. During my senior year, I signed up to take Mr. Wallace's creative writing elective course. I had found something at prep that I had never expected to find. All I had to do to find it was to get out of my comfort zone and take a walk around school after the final bell had rung. Well, my knee healed, and I did return to the field and the ice, but I was different. My brothers will tell you that, my teammates will tell you that, my parents will tell you that. I still love to play, I still love my teammates, and I still love championships and the feeling you got putting on that jersey in front of the bomb squad. But I knew now, at that point, that my time at Fairfield Prep was about more than these narrow experiences and objectives. I found myself feeling much more connected to the brotherhood at Prep when I realized that the shared experience that defined teamwork do not only take place on the ice, but also take place in the halls, on the service trips and retreats, in the classrooms and the clubs. And most importantly, these shared experiences, this teamwork, takes place in the conversations with and compassion for the students and teachers who work with you every day. My only regret is I didn't realize this truth earlier in my prep career. I wish somebody had told me when I was a freshman what I'm telling you now. So let me ask you a question. Who do you play for? What do you want to be a part of? And what can the Prep Brotherhood offer you? And maybe most importantly, what can you offer to Prep? So here's my advice. You have a day of reflection today. You have a day to think about why you're here and what you want to be while you're here. Here are some challenges I'd like you to think about. Number one, get to know your teachers, administrators, and staff at Prep. Go to extra help. Stop into an office. Ask them about their lives. Let them into yours. They will surprise you if you let them. Number two, embrace change, even when it's uncomfortable. Look for new roads. Look for new paths when the old and familiar paths in your lives get blocked. And number three, find new passion every day. Work hard at the things you find and share them with people you care about. Get to know your teachers, gentlemen. Embrace change when it's thrown at you. And find new passion every day. So when I look at my college experience, and I look at my time as a teacher and a coach here now at Fairfield Prep for the last 13 years, it seems to me that the realizations I made in my junior year at Prep was the moment of my life. Did Mr. Rowe's generosity, when he came to my house every day, did he make me want to become a teacher? When I discovered writing, when my brother handed me that short story book, did that make me want to major in English in college and come back and talk English with prep students? Did all that time I spent on the athletic fields and in the locker rooms make me want to be a coach? Pass on that information and that passion to student athletes? Yes. 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 No question in my mind, boys. Who do you play for? Shared experiences. Who do you play for? I coach for Fairfield Prep. I teach for Fairfield Prep. I serve Fairfield Prep. And I still play for Fairfield Prep. Have a great day, boys.